Take a picture of that. And that's why they get no piss. Period. I don't want them in San Diego. They're embarrassing all our
San Diego, this is not your flight. I shot of LA. I shot of LA.
Ice agent? Have you ever seen one?
So I'm going to talk about a conversation that I had with a guy from LA, black guy from LA, and he was a manager for a business that I was actually at. He's one of my customers, and so he started telling me. He asked me where I was from, and I told him, and so then he proceeded to tell me he was from LA. So I asked him what part, and then we started talking. I said, "What do you think about the riots?" And he said, "I said you still got I said you still got family out there." He said, "Yeah, my sister, my mom, everybody's. I grew up out there, And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so I said, "Okay, well, you the guy to ask what you think about the riots." And he was like, "Well, yeah, he's like, shit's on fire, shit's crazy, whatever." And so I wanted to dig a little deeper. So I was like, "Well, do you think?" I said, "What do you think as far as are they want ICE? They want the ICE agents out. They want to protest and push them out, and the government, Trump administration, etc. They want to enforce the rules." And so I said, I asked him, "What do you think about that? How do you think that's going to play out?" And I could tell he knows what's going on, because he said, "Well, look, man, let me tell you like this." He said, a lot of he said the government is infiltrated in California. He's like, the local government is infiltrated by gangs and cartels and stuff like that. He said the police force is infiltrated by gangs and cartels and things like that. And so he says, if they want the illegal immigration, they benefit from it and they want it. It allows them to move, I guess, move around and stuff like that. And so he said, he told me, he said, "Look, I think that they're gonna push them. They're gonna protest and riot, and and it's gonna be so crazy and so intense that it's going to push ICE actually out of LA." Like, he said that they're not gonna be able to enforce the immigration laws there. They're gonna have to close up shop and go home. I was like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah." He said, I don't see them being able to ICE being able to operate out there. They're gonna have to, shut them. They're gonna shut them down. They're gonna shut down ICE. I was like, "Oh shit." He was like, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, man." He said, "The way things is going out there, the way things is set up." He said, "I don't think the federal government understands, like, how the illegals, the the cartels, the gangs integrated into, even into the military. He's like, all of this shit is integrated at this point into the military, into the police departments, the bureaucracy, the government out there, the local government in California." And so he said, they're gonna probably be forced to just leave and leave it alone, sweep it under the rug. And I said, okay. I said, well, what if they don't? I said, what happens if they don't? He said, if they don't, it's gonna be crazy out there. Like, he's like, they gonna get busy. Like literally, like they gonna, like riots, melees, basically like on a civil war level. Like they're gonna. He said these. He said you're gonna have these different members probably coming up from like south of the border to wage attacks on the government, on ICE and stuff like that. I was like, wow, really? And he was like, yeah, man. He said it could get bad out there. He said it could get bad, like Civil War style, if they don't back off. He said he said because them people they'll go in on them out there. I was like, you think so? He's like, yeah, fuck yeah. He said so. But I don't think they're gonna push it that far. I think once they get the real fierce pushback, then they just gonna leave, and ICE and the federal government are just gonna leave and close up shop, and they're gonna let them have California. They're not gonna do any. They're gonna let it be a sanctuary state, and they're not gonna do any enforcement. I was like, wow. I was like, okay. I was like, wow. Well, that's interesting. So, but anyway, I thought about it. I said, I figured I'd talk a little bit about what he told me. People can comment. Subscribe, comment, and let me know what you think. Do you think that what he said is true, or was it all bullshit? Or are they really gonna, if they get enough pushback, close up shop, or will the administration crack down, you know, and force their will? So anyway, so let's see, like I said, like, subscribe, share, let me know what you think. I'll see y'all in the next one.